Okay. So, guys, here it is. Here is what I'm showing to the TikTok people. Here is Wgrx. We're trading at 96 cents. Okay, we got a breakout above the moving average. This is the 15-minute chart. That's a big chart. The 5-minute chart for sure. We already see that. Look at this. You got a breakout above the 50 and now the 200. That's a major bullish signal. Again, the 5-minute chart is not a big deal, but again, it's very, very important to tell you what is going on. Where is my book? I'll show you the book in just a second. Market is about to close in a minute. 97 cents. Look at this. It's right at the moon. Now, here's what's important. You know what the best part of this is? The best part is how the stock opened up. The stock dropped. They did a crappy financing, okay? I'm not going to lie. The financing sucks. I don't like the fact I didn't know about it. And look what happened. I thought it was going to go to 62 cents. I thought we were going to go to 62 cents today. And this is what I told everybody in our private Telegram. This is what I told the Penny Stock Billionaire Gang private Telegram channel. I said, look, we might be going to 61 cent support level for a tradable bounce. And then all of a sudden, the stock started moving up. This is what I said at 10:55 this a.m. This type of action, when you have a stock that bounces off, just like this type of bullish action after a horrible financing, that's super bullish. We almost hit $1. And now, look at this. I mean, this stock all day long has been wanting to go. Let me explain to you what this means. This is what we call cognitive dissonance. It's cognitive dissonance. That's what this is. When you see that type of activity, in other words, here's the thing. When a stock has great news and it drops, that's bearish. When you see a stock going up on bad news, that's bullish. You understand why? Because it's not supposed to happen. When you see what's going on with Wgrx right now, that should not be happening. Why? Because they just did a financing at 75 cents. Okay? That should not have happened. So the fact that the stock is going up after they just did a 75-cent financing means the market really. Listen, the stock. I tell you this. The charts tell you the truth in advance. I've said this multiple times on the show. You can't trust anybody. Not the company, not me, not your parents, not your friends, not the people on CNBC. Nobody. The only person you can trust is the charts. The charts that are breaking above moving averages. This is what I talk about in the book, 10-Bagger Blueprint. You want the book? Click the link above in the bio or video description if you're watching on YouTube, the video description below, where we got the video course. Now, the market just closed. I'm not going to bother with it after hours because after hours is garbage. Do not trade after hours. It's a scam. Okay? The after hours is a total fraud. So is pre-market action. Total fraud. The only place you should trade is in the actual market. 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Anyway, look at this beautiful chart. So this is the 15-minute chart. We got breakout set up for Monday morning. Beautiful, beautiful upside reversal pattern happening on the 1-hour chart. That's a big deal. Okay, and once we get above $1, very, very bullish. Hang on one second. By the way, I got a bunch of questions. We will address all the questions. But you know what? How about you guys click the hearts button, click the like button, the hearts button, whatever it is, so we get more eyeballs on the screen. Click the hearts button, and I will address all the questions. Look at this. If we get on Monday the stock, if we get this Wgrx to close above $1.10 on Monday, I mean, that's going to be super bullish. Super, super bullish. Super bullish. Again, here's all you got to know. Buy the stocks when they're breaking above the moving averages. And the other thing is this. When you see market activity that does not make sense, That's the truth. In other words, if you see bad news and the stock is going up, you see the stock market going up on bad news. Have you noticed that the stock market goes up on bad news? Sometimes on some bad news, bad employment, whatever it is. That tells you where the real action is. That tells you where it's going. And that's what's going on right now. That's the truth. So Wgrx, the truth is this stock wants to go higher. Let's see what else is looking good for Monday. ADN, I think we're having a pretty decent close. 340. I think ADN is going to have a pretty good day Monday. Let's see. Worksport. By the way, Worksport. I think Worksport is going to get ready to go also. Now that everybody's given up. Rune Hansen, bad news is news, but no news is bad. No news is bad. No news is bad. Now, what you saw with Wgrx is they did a financing. They raised $5 million, or they're raising $5 million. It's going to be at 75 cents. So it's 30% below where the market was. Well, 25% below the market. 25% below the market, which is, not great. Plus a warrant at the same price. Not great. But for whatever reason, they needed to do the deal. We're going to find out next week. I think it's going to be bullish news. Why? Because the stock was going up. Stocks usually don't go up on that type of news. Stocks usually go down. I was expecting Wgrx to go to 61 cents. The fact that it went up is bullish. Hoth, we're going to be doing a live stream on Monday. Hoth is looking actually real good for Monday. I think Richard is here. Richard, I think Hoth is looking real good for Monday. We got a nice. It's getting ready. It's getting set up for a nice bounce on Monday. Somebody's asking about ADTX. Look, ADTX. Somebody just said no news. ADTX hasn't had news in a month. I mean, I got no patience with these guys. I told they got plenty of stuff to talk about. If they're not putting out news, I mean, like what? The stock is not going to go anywhere. The stock is not going to go anywhere. They told me that they're going to have plenty of news. So the fact that they didn't deliver. Look, guys. Here's what I say in the 10-bagger blueprint. Every stock we launch meets a list of 10 criteria. They all have to meet a list of 10 criteria. Otherwise, we're not going to bring them on as a client, even though they're paying money. But how do you know if the company's real? You never know. You never know until you see the news flow. The news flow is the proof that it's real. Meaning that the company starts putting out a press release once a week, or at least 3 press releases a month. If they're not putting out 3 press releases a month, there's a problem. It means it's not at the inflection point. Again, you got to realize the stocks that we have, that we bring on here, which we call our next super stock, they're called that for a reason. Because, we believe that they could be a next super stock, the next stock to become not just a 10-bagger, but even a 100-bagger. And part of that means, how do you know if a company is at the inflection point to be a super stock? It's the news flow. It's the pulse of the business. How do you know if somebody's alive? You check their pulse. Right? You put your finger on their wrist. You check the pulse. The news flow is that pulse. If you see 4 press releases a month, that's a healthy heartbeat. If you see 2 press releases, it's okay. It's okay. It means they're at least alive. If you see no press releases, I mean, it's dead. They might as well be dead. They might as well just close the business. It must be really easy for a company to go public. Yeah, it actually is. It actually is pretty easy for a company to go public. I mean, you see assholes do it all the time. I mean, most of these guys running public companies are not qualified to be running public companies. So Hoth actually started to put out, but Hoth was dead. Now they're putting out news. Somebody's asking about Seattle. Now, Seattle, look, I mean, technically our contract with Seattle was up. It's for 3 months. I haven't even been following Seattle. But I'll just bring it up because, we have a lot of people who still own the stock. The thesis has not changed. The thesis from day one was the merger with Core Gaming. And we need to have the NASDAQ approval for that. So we're waiting for that to happen. When is that going to happen? I'm trying to pull up the chart and okay. I'm trying to pull up a chart here. I don't know when it's going to happen. It could happen. I mean, it's grinding on for months. If you look at the chart's actually not bad, as long as it holds above these levels. I mean, it's like it's on support levels right now. 225, 220, 30. Those are support levels. LITM. Somebody just brought that up. LITM. Another stock. I mean, LITM looks like it's ready to go higher. the chart tells you, but we've had so many fake outs with LITM. I mean, we got good drill results, got good volume today. I don't know what's going on. I mean, look, it's there you go. Wgrx 97 cents. $0.97 WGRX. Richard, when is the next new stock coming? Well, first of all, you had a new stock 3 weeks ago. You had a new stock the first week of September. And September is, by the way, a difficult month. It is a difficult month to do stuff in. I was expecting 2 stocks. Now it's going to be in October. But we got one 3 weeks ago. Worksport, by the way, was not a great launch. Because the stock got halted right after it came out. So it went up like 45% and it got halted. And that kept it from doubling, basically. I thought it would have doubled. But in October, in the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to have 2 stocks. Richard. Yeah, look, by the way, Worksport, with Worksport, I think the stock... The thing with Worksport is I think the stock is looking good right here. I think the stock is looking real good. I'm surprised people don't understand because they actually have they have a growing business. Their revenues are exploding. I mean, this is a real company with exploding revenues. Why the market doesn't understand it now, I don't understand that. Makes no sense. Aditex, look, I mean, Aditex is on the back burner. They haven't had news. I've reached out to the company, said, hey, you gotta have some news so that we'll have you on for a live stream. Haven't heard back. If they're not gonna put out news, it's like they're useless. It's just the reality. If a company doesn't put out news flow at least a couple times a month, it's useless. By the way, that does not apply to Seata. Why? Because Seata can't put out news, unfortunately, because they're waiting for this merger to go through. Yeah, Richard, I think Worksport, I think the CEO is amazing. I think the stock they got a great business. I think more people need to understand it. Basically, that's what we're going to be doing. I think it's going to be one that's going to be slow to build. It's going to be slow to build. It's going to be slow to build. It's going to be slow to build. LITM. Okay, Wgrx. By the way, look at this. Even after hours. No, there's no. Basically, Seata is I would say it's neutral right now. We can't until they have the merger approved by NASDAQ. Nothing's going on. What's happening with Wgrx? Wgrx is ready to go to the moon. Okay, why? If you read the book, you would know. You got to click the link above in the bio to get the book on Amazon or get the video course. Look, when you have a company that has bad news and the stock goes up big time from the drop, that's positive. And that's what happened with Wgrx. Actually, Wgrx, the news is not bad. The news is they're raising money, which technically is good, but it's below where the market is. It's at 75 cents, which doesn't affect investors really. At the end of the day, it doesn't affect. The question is, what are they going to use the funds for? That's the big deal, okay? We have to see how the funds are deployed. If the funds are deployed for major projects that are going to drive revenue growth, that are going to be accretive, that's very positive. I think that's what the market sees. That's why the stock is going up. That's what we talk about in 10-bagger blueprint. That's why the stock, I think that's why the stock rocketed from the lows today. Look, the stock was as low as 73 cents. Why would it go up in this massive volume? Hang on a second. Oh, I don't have the chart up. Yeah, hang on. There we go. Okay, sorry guys. 3.5 million shares. That's a lot of volume. That's a lot of volume. That's a lot of volume. Look at this. Yeah, buying all at the end of the day. If you look at, I mean, look at those green bars. It's big volume. Yeah, you get a lot of volume coming in here. And we closed with a breakout. We closed with a breakout above the 200 moving average. So this is what I'm going to leave you guys with. If you're watching a TikTok, click the hearts button so we get more eyeballs on this. Okay. Very, very bullish chart pattern right there. Very bullish. And guess what? You're going to have a golden cross coming up on probably Tuesday. Again, breakout on the 15-minute chart. Bullish. There's going to be a breakout on the 30-minute chart. Also another bullish algo trigger. How about the 1-hour chart? That's coming up at $1.15. Do we get there Monday? I don't know. I don't know if it's got that much momentum. I think if we get to $1.10, I'll be impressed. If we get to $1.10 on Monday with Wgrx, I'll be very happy. Hey, ADTX, if they eventually deliver the share price, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, the problem is this. The problem is, here is the problem. The problem is, we can't wait 5 years. I don't know when it's going to deliver. We have no idea. We have no idea, right? So that's the whole, look, that's the whole point of the 10-bagger blueprint. We want to get into these stocks at the inflection point. Okay, when we launch a stock, when we present that company as our next super stock, what that means is that company is at the inflection point now. And how do you know it's at the inflection point? If they have the news flow, meaning it's happening now. So if they don't have news flow, it means it's not happening. So when they do eventually have the news, it could be a year from now. Okay, then fine, it'll be again that moment. But that means we were wrong, or the company lied, or they did not execute. That's what it means. Why don't they have news flow? The CEO told me before he signed up, we're going to have news once, at least twice a month. He told me this. I said otherwise, like if you don't have news, I was very, 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 very specific. Very transparent. I said, look, guys, this is what I tell every company. If you come on our platform, we need 2 things from you. You got to have at least 2 to 3 press releases a month, and then you got to show up twice a month on a live stream to engage with investors. If you do that, your stock will probably become a 10-bagger. Again, assuming everything else is there, within 6 to 9 months, yeah, or at least it'll triple or increase 500%. Which our worst performers, anybody who's done that has increased at least 300%. And when they don't do that, then what's the point, right? Yeah, C plus. That's what we're talking about. It's the news flow is the proof. Because I have no idea. These people can lie to you, right? Most of these CEOs are great salespeople, and they're also delusional. You have to understand, these guys are delusional because they have to be. I mean, most of the great CEOs are, if you look at, they're not great human beings. I mean, I'm not. This is just the way it is. It's like politicians, right? Like Steve Jobs. Now that Steve Jobs has been dead, all the truth has been coming out of him that he's basically was a total scumbag. And he had delusions of fantasies of whatever, but he made them happen, right? You have to have, in order to be a successful CEO to some degree, you have to have some sort of delusion about reality. Because most people who live in a reality, like they accept things only what's there now. And the guy who's the guy who's a visionary sees what's possible when it doesn't appear to be so. So, it takes, and sometimes they cross the line into like delusions of insanity. All right. Anyway, bottom line is Wgrx looking very good. Looking very good for next week. ADN, Hoff, okay. Worksport. Raymond, we were talking about Wgrx for the last hour. Where were you? Worksport has great numbers. I mean, Worksport, here's the thing. Worksport, their numbers are going through the roof. They got phenomenal numbers. The revenues are doubling. Are we going to have a new stock? Yeah, we're going to have a new stock coming up very soon. It'll probably be, I think, the week after next. What we might do is we might have like 2 stocks in October, and we'll have 3 in November. I think November is going to be a very good month. I think November, December are going to be very, very strong months. We'll for sure have at least 1 stock in October, possibly 2. At least 1 for sure. And by the way, I got news for you. No, we're not going to have a new stock next week. It's going to be probably the week after. I got news for you also. The last few launches, there's been some mistakes made. I take credit for some of the mistakes. I take full credit for mistakes made, okay? Some things I could have done better. We would have had better results. We've learned because, it's always, everything is always changing. Everything is always changing. I'm doing this for decades now, but in this market's different, new platform, everything is always different. Just because something worked, whatever, it's different today because we have a different market. You have a different stock. You have a different platform. You have everything's different. In 2 weeks from now, it's going to be different. But there's some things that we can manage. Will it be a medical stock? I hope not. The medical, the biotech stocks for sure. The biotech stocks. Yeah, I listen. I'd love to have an AI stock. I'd love to have an AI stock. GPUS. No, they have not contacted me. Have them contact me if they want to be on the platform. I don't know anything about them. Yeah, look, thank you for making me. Yeah, look, all human beings make mistakes, right? If we didn't make mistakes, we wouldn't be. RR, I don't know who RR is. Should we buy Wgrx? Well, first of all, Lynn, I don't give advice. I don't give buy-sell recommendations. I think if you're watching the show, you should be able to make your own decision, right? Oh, Rich Tech Robotics. Oh, I've seen that stock, yeah. I mean, not business-wise. I've come across it. Yeah, all I can tell you is the charts are looking very, very bullish for Wgrx for next week. That's all I will say. That's not advice. It's not a buy-sell recommendation. My target, my personal target on the stock is $10 plus. I believe we could be at $350 in a week. once it starts moving. Why do I believe Well Logistics could be $10 stock? Because they're doing right now about $40 million revenues annualized, okay? And the CEO has mentioned that his goal is to get it to 250 to 400. That would mean that the company would be valued at 5x that, so it's $1 billion to $2 billion. You divide $1 billion by the number of shares outstanding, and it works out to be about $10 based on the current share count. So that's $10 a share is the current target. That's including the dilution. Approximately, it could overshoot, plus minus, maybe undershoot, whatever. Maybe they'll do more revenue. If they do 400 million, that's $2 billion valuation. So that would be $20 a share. So that's what I'm saying. It could be, and he said it could be 250 to 400, depending on how many drugs they have. So you could have a Hoth or Wgrx better buy. Wow, that's a tough question. Yeah, look, every one of our stocks has gone up. Every one of our stocks that we launched has gone up. It's a fact. The worst performer is up 45%. That's Worksport. They only increased 45% on day one. Every stock you're mentioning, look at the 5-year charts. I love this guy. Look at the 5-year chart. Yeah, that's exactly. Exactly, buddy. That's what we're doing. We're looking at the 5-year charts. If you read the book, you probably don't know how to read Superior Supply. Or we got a video course. Click the link above. We got the 10-bagger blooper video course. One thing you know, what do we talk about? We like stocks that are at the bottom, that are massively beaten down, people given up for dead. Why is that important? Because then you're getting in at a dirt cheap valuation when they're deeply undervalued. It's like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. By the way, Warren Buffett started out in penny stocks. Yeah, that's what he started out with. Before he was doing the big, he was doing penny stocks. Okay, up until he turned 40, most of his deals were penny stocks. He was buying these beaten down stocks, deep value. What I like is I like deep value with multiple catalysts. That's what we talk about in the book. And I always say stocks like to go back to old highs. So if you look, if you pull up the 5-year charts, like as this guy's telling you, you're going to see some of these stocks trading at $500 a share, like Worksport. Okay, and there's an old trader's superstition that says stocks like to go back to old highs. Why does it happen? Nobody knows, but it happens all the time. Check this out. So Worksport was $150 a share 4 years ago, $150. Here we are today. We got a big wide base. It's exactly what we like to see. Big wide double bottom base. And we were breaking out. It did break out, then it pulled back. But we were breaking out, and I think it's going to break out again. And once it goes above the red line, the 50 moving average, especially if we go above the 200, if we can get above 200, which is $4.90, and I believe we're going to get there because this gap is going to get filled. This gap will be filled, in my opinion. When that happens, the stock goes back to $10, $15 a share. And where is their headquarters? It's in West Seneca, New York. Look at they got a big factory there, you dummy. They get Worksport has a big factory. Where do you think they make all their stuff? This guy is saying the merger. This guy is opining on every stock and every stock. Where is the headquarters? They got what do you call it? They got the company that they're buying is in Hong Kong. Okay, it's a Hong Kong-based company. That's the core. The actual assets are of Core Gaming. I mean, these guys are such tomato cans. Such tomato cans. You want to talk again about the 5-year chart? You want to talk about the 5-year chart? You want to look at the Seattle 5-year chart? This thing could be a $1,000. I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm not saying it's going to be $1,000 stock. I think it could be potentially a $40, $50 stock if the right things happen. But it's got to happen. They got to close that merger. Anyway, guys, bottom line is this. Wgrx, we got a beautiful setup. Wgrx is a beautiful, beautiful setup for next week. We're going to have a new stock. Superior Supply. Superior Supply, you know everything. We know. No, we have 40 people in the chat. Stop lying. We've got 40 people watching right now. Guys, please click the hearts button, the upvote, so we get more people to prove this guy wrong. This loser. Click the hearts button, the upvote button. Come on, man. You're talking to the $1 trillion man. Fulio Beams knows. Buddy, we have, I literally wrote the book on 10 baggers, okay? How many 10 baggers have you had in your life? I've had the countless, at least 13 documented in here, many, many, many others. We've had even 1,000 baggers. I'm not taking credit, though. I'm not taking credit for Axon, which went from $1 to 1,600. Why? Because they were a client. Yes, we did, but we weren't really aggressively promoting them. But the fact is this: yes, over the over the last 25 years, here is a fact. I have introduced investors to stocks that have created over $1 trillion in wealth. That's right, $1 trillion in wealth. That's not an exaggeration. That's actually being conservative. Pete. Okay, Pete claims he made money on every one of our stocks. Very possible. Listen, most of the people who make money, they don't talk. Most of the people who make money on our stocks, and how is it possible for people to lose money? I don't know how it's possible. I mean, we've given you one banger after another, but I know for a fact there are people who've lost on every single stock. I know for a fact. We've seen what they claim. We have people who claim they made money. You show me a stock, I'll show you a winner and a loser. It's not my responsibility for when you decide to buy and sell a stock. All I can do is present it to you. I don't know what's in your head, what your comfort with risk is. Most people sell it exactly at the wrong time. And they buy at the wrong time. That's why I wrote the book for stupid people like Superior Supply. I actually look, this guy, Superior Supply, the hater, I don't think he's stupid. I think he's misinformed. He's not stupid. I think the guy means well. He just doesn't know anything. He doesn't know the reality of the markets we're in. He's just, like, the guy he's coming across a live stream he hasn't seen before, whatever it is. Yeah, it's up to you when to get it in. Again, I give you the stock that could be a 10 bagger. Okay? It's up to you. Look, we have a stock that, look, if I gave you Taser, which was Axon. I gave you Axon at $1.25. Okay? Did I buy Axon? Did I buy Axon at $1.25? No. If I did, I'd be sitting on $50 million, 5-0. If I would have put in 50 grand, I would have had 50 million by now. Because every $1,000 became worth $1 million. It went from $1 to $1,600, $2 million. Okay, so it's not my responsibility if you decide to buy that stock at $1.25 and sell it $2.50, and then it goes to $1,000. No, it's not. It's up to you. You got to take responsibility for your own action. Am I a billionaire? Yeah, of course, I'm a penny stocks billionaire. You too could be a penny stocks billionaire. You buy the book and you become an instant penny stock billionaire. Axon, listen, Axon. Here's the thing. I'm embarrassed to say this. The guy was right in front of me. I didn't buy the stock. I thought it was like, the guy's a schmuck. I really thought he was stupid. I thought he was an idiot. His father, I thought the guy was a clown. And it went to like $10. Then it collapsed. It went from $1 to $10. Then it crashed. And Then it came back, went to 100, blah, blah, blah. And then, 20, by the way, it's over a period of 20 years, 20 years. You think I'm going to wait 20 years for a stock to go 1,000x? I'm not going to hold a stock. Who even knows? I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, how about the Rick's Cabaret or Rick's Entertainment, as they call it? RCK, I think is the symbol. That went from 50 cents to $100. MicroStrategy was one of our clients back in the day. Strategy, that's Michael Saylor, the Bitcoin bro. That was 100 bagger in the 90s, in the late 90s. In the late 90s, that's 25 years ago. I don't hold it. I don't believe in the crypto stuff. I'm sorry. I just don't understand it. Like, I mean, I get the chart stuff. I just think the crypto stuff is just like, I think it's going to end badly. But I might be stupid. I don't know. You don't always get everything right. Let's see. How is Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin might be forming a head and shoulders top or triple top. I was talking about WK. Dude, you're joining late. I was talking about WKSP for. Have you had it? Yes, we've had 10 baggers. We had a 7 bagger with Seattle. Seattle went up 700%. Okay, guys, here's the bottom line. We're going to have a new stock. We're going to have a new banger probably in 2 weeks. New stock, it's probably going to double on day one, just like all of our previous stocks have more or less doubled. I mean, the worst one is up 45%. The worst one on day one. The best one up 200%. Usually they double with massive volume. So I'm expecting that when we launch a new stock, which is going to be probably in about 2 weeks. So if you want to get in early, if you want to get in at the ground floor, click the link above in the bio. Click the link above in the bio to get onto our WAP, which is gives you a private Telegram channel. It gives you access to the 10-bagger blueprint video course, the video course. You got the chat with your fellow penny stock billionaires. Trophy point. This is the guy that leaves comments on my videos. You spout off about blah, blah, blah. Continue to say there'll be 10 baggers. First of all, I don't say anything will. I never, ever say something will be. I say it could be, potentially. It's all high risk, okay? It's public venture capital. Nothing is guaranteed. I mean, you waking up tomorrow morning is not guaranteed. You think about that, okay? That's not guaranteed. So how am I supposed to guarantee that a stock will double? Why would people sell a double? Are you retarded? I mean, this trophy point is, this guy doesn't understand so many bag holders. Listen, trophy point, how about the people who made money? You only think about, you don't think people have made money when a stock goes up 700%, 200%? You just because they're not on the chat right now, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. Okay, just, for every winner, there has to be a loser. You got to realize you're the loser. You're the loser, my friend. I mean, you probably haven't even bought any of the stocks. You're a guy who's just a cynical guy who thinks he's smart. There we go. We got Adam saying he made huge. How many super stock AM? Bag holders. Yeah, a lot of people made, there we go in the comments. A lot of people made a lot of money in these stocks. And guess what? Guess what? Here's what you have to also understand. it's again. I always say this is what I talk about. This is why I wrote this book for dummies. I wrote this book for dummies, not just dummies, but everybody. We all need to, because there's basic things here, so you would know. And by the way, you got a video course. Click the link above in the bio. What's the point of the book? It gives you my whole philosophy, and part of it is you got to take a portfolio approach. You don't know which stock is going to work. In terms of a venture capitalist, okay, when they put money into a company, they don't know it's going to be the next Google. They have no idea. They all look good. You have no idea which is going to be the next Facebook or which is going to be the next OpenAI. You have no idea. You bet on all, and some of them, for whatever reason, don't work or don't work. You got to obviously have the best probabilities, but that's why these guys, they put money in at least, well, the guys who do seed stage, they do 100 companies. They put money into like 1% at most per deal. I tell people, at least, you got to really diversify at least across 10 stocks. Why is that? Because we don't know which is going to be the next big winner. We have no idea. I have zero idea. I know they all could be 10 baggers. They all have that potential. But if you would have told me, like, for example, ADTX could have easily gone to $10. Easily could have gone to $10. Much faster than Seattle went to $9. ADTX could have gone to the moon, literally. Okay? Much faster than ADN tripled. The fact that it didn't, for whatever reason, no idea. So you got to have money spread across 10 deals so you can have diversification, not diversity. This is not a diversity, equity, and inclusion. You got to have diversification in case one deal blows up, but also you want to have money ready for the next deal, because we might have. By the way, the best time to get in is when we had a bunch of duds. Okay, and I wouldn't say we had duds, but it's been a rough month. So a lot of people, like, for example, have probably given up. They're like, oh, whatever, this blah blah blah. He promotes whoever pays him. Michael Brownlee. Yeah, I promote whoever. I lost my license. This guy. How much? Well, you lost $100? No, I only promote the companies that meet these criteria. If I promoted everybody who would pay me, I'd be a trillionaire. Or of course, all the stocks would be dead. But whatever. But yeah, the companies do have to pay to be on the program. By the way, that screens out all the losers. But so here's why you got to have enough money for 10 different stocks. For example, if you have all your money in one stock and it drops by 50%, now you're down 50%, and then we come out with a new launch. Let's say we have a new launch October 15th. That could be the stock that goes up 1,000% in a week. It could be. Well, the odds of that are low. I mean, it could go up 5x, 10x, lost 20. There you go. So bottom line is this. I have a feeling that our next launch is going to be huge. Why? You know why? Because when you have I'm a little bit superstitious. I always find if you have like a couple of back-to-back winners, you have like 2 or 3 in a row, it's a lucky streak. So there's an element of luck. I'm not going to lie. There is an element of luck. Now, again, I would pick the companies very carefully. They have to meet the strict criteria. But the fact that one goes up 700% in a week, that's luck. Because I was expecting that 700% in a few months. Seattle should have gone up to, from $1 to $9 over a couple of months. It should have happened. Over 3 months, I was expecting it. It happened in 7 days. The next one tripled in 1 day. Lottery tripled in 1 day, from 70 cents to over $2. So, that's where you gotta have money set aside, because you don't know when is going to be the next, our next big win. when I say next big win, I'm talking about a stock that goes up, 1,000%. The next 10 bagger. The next 10 bagger. I have a feeling. I have a feeling it's going to be in the next few months. You look like the market stressed you out today. Yeah, the market did stress me out there. Yeah, a little bit. Actually, I don't know. What's the stress? How much stress could there be? I mean, like, what's the big deal? It's there's people who have real problems. This stuff is nonsense. What would you tell a person who feels the need to hold a bunch of stocks? I had told him, dude, you need one. No, you do. You only need one stock. You really do need one stock. The problem is this. If you have your eggs in one basket, all in one basket, like, you better be sure it's going to be a winner. I don't know. You must have some incredible information, and you got to have some incredible luck. But we have had guys, we have had guys on our program, investors, like, we have a video on our YouTube channel. I think it's called Calvin Ting. That was the kid. He turned like a couple $1,000s. I think it was 10,000 or 5,000 into like over $1 million in like 6 months. From $5,000, it might have been something. Either was, I know it was under 10,000. It was something like either 2,000 or 10,000 or something like that. But this guy turned that into 10 grand. How did he do it? Well, we had a couple stocks that were back-to-back major wins. Stocks that went up like 500%. 1,000%, another, so if you do that, it's easy to go from, $5,000 to $1 million. But yeah, it is gambling. Yeah, it's parlaying your money. It's gambling. It's not trading. But believe it or not, there's people who have done it. There's a lot of hedge fund guys who have done that. I think Warren Buffett even may have done that at some point. Is it recommended? No, it's basically like, you got to be insane to do that. I would never do that. But we've had people who've done that. They, because look, we've had these streaks where we have one winner after another, and then we go into a streak where we have like 3 back-to-back losers. We've had that also. Seattle. I don't know, guys. Stop asking about Seattle. We haven't worked with them in a couple months. Our contract is up. I don't know what's going on. So I have no information. That's the problem. I have no insider advantage. All I can see is the chart. The chart is looking, like I said, it's basically looking like it's at support levels. It could run. It's waiting for a catalyst. I'm repeating. The stock hasn't changed. Okay, by the way, we got a free weekly newsletter. Guys, if you want to subscribe to the free weekly newsletter, I'm going to say click this link. Click the link right there. Click the link that's in the next to the comment button to get my free weekly newsletter in your email box every week. Don't you want to get a free weekly newsletter? If you're watching on YouTube, click the link in the video description below. But if you click that link, you're going to get a free weekly newsletter coming into your email box every week. Unbelievable, but true. You might discover our next 10 bagger in that weekly newsletter. The link for the free newsletter is below, right where the comment button is. I can't believe that. I mean, we're giving away free stuff and we only have 2 people that clicked. What are your thoughts on crypto? I have very controversial thoughts on crypto. My opinion doesn't mean anything, by the way, because there's a lot of very smart people who think crypto is whatever. I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't get it. Like, I don't get the Bitcoin thing. I mean, I guess the Ethereum theoretically makes sense if they use it as some sort of whatever. But like, I think they're all problems in search of a solution, or solutions in search of a problem. They're solutions in search of a problem. I don't really get the crypto thing. I do believe that we could have a major economic crash as a result of crypto, because you have real systemic risk. Everybody and their brother-in-law is buying crypto because they think, I mean, I don't know, what's the point of buying Bitcoin? Because it's going up? It's like buying tulips. People were buying tulips in the 1600s because they thought it would go to the moon, right? Like that's not a thesis. Because something is going up, like, you know, like, what does it do? What's the use of it? Nobody has explained it. Bones, I talked about Seattle for 10 minutes just because you're joining now. How many? Listen, guys, if you want me to talk about a stock, I talked about all the stocks 10 minutes ago. All right? I mean, you watch the replay or something. Don't blame me if you're coming in late. I'm not going to repeat myself 20 times. Watch the video on YouTube. Wgrx down after hours, no good. The after hours means like nothing. Means absolutely nothing. I bought 1,000 shares at $1.70. This dude is a scammer. Why are you watching then? Why do you keep watching? You seem like a fan. Okay, RR. I'm going to bring it up. I was looking at the stock a long time ago. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, it looked like it had a run. It started a run. I don't think it's a sustainable run. It looks like it's falling apart already. It's like open, or it looks like open to me. By the way, open, I think, is how did open close? Oh, not bad. Actually, open came back a little bit. I put out a video here on TikTok. You know what? Everything I said, by the way, everything I said about open, I take it back now. It looks like we got a reversal. Open looks like it wants to go higher. The open chart looks like it wants to go higher on Monday. Yeah, these things can turn on a dime. The open chart looks good now, so I was wrong. I'm going to do a video Monday maybe. Wow, open looks like it might explode. I hate to say this. Look at YouTube. I'm too lazy to flip the camera around for TikTok. Bones. Yeah, Bones. You probably have Bones. Bones, send me. Listen, why don't you send me some of that money then? You know, it's hard out here it's hard out here. Send some money over here to this channel. We need your support. We have very high expenses running this channel. The production quality is out of this world. It costs millions of dollars each week to run this channel. So, Bones, if you've got all this money, you should send some here. My prediction on Wgrx. If we go to $1.10 on Monday, which I think we will, if we close at $1.10 or higher on Monday, very, very bullish. It means that we can go to 350. If we go to 350, we got to set up for $10. That's the way it works. That's the deal. There we go. All right, guys, that's it. TikTok, we'll see you next week. We got a new banger coming in about 2 weeks. Get ready. There we go. right, YouTube, we got rid of the TikTokers. Nah, I don't know where you get that from. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.